Bahasham Rakakadash. The water, Yahawashi. Come on, man, act right. The water, Yahawashi. Bahasham Yahawashi. Shalaki Yahawashi. For my sins as I cry. Call Lord Yahawashi. Bahasham Yahawashi. Shalaki Yahawashi. For my sins as I cry. Bahasham Yahawashi. For reply every time. Water Yahawashi. For the akim that you supply. Water Yahawashi. For the aqua that comply. Call hello Yahawashi. Bahasham Yahawashi. Shalom, shalom. It's your brother, Obadiah Yahawah, and coming to you this evening with a lesson. It's been on my spirit for quite some time, and I've been diligently trying to get it out, but I have to wait on the Most High to deliver me to deliver it for the most part. It's just the way it has to go. And Shalaki for the interruptions with the camera and all this other stuff that's going down. I got selection days giving me a bunch of, for what I tell you. He don't like to mess with your camera, mess with your stuff. Ooh, boy. All right, I'm back. Shalom. Whew. Feel kind of funny here. Just like I said, I've been just trying to get straight. Just bear with me here for a minute as I get myself together. And then we'll be right back at it. Camera going off, everything losing it. And we're going to just get right back to it. Shut. And power back on. Thank you, baby. Ooh, shalom. Okay, shalom, shalom. We back in here. We're back where we need to be. Whew, boy. Again. I'm going to give salutations to all of the Akim Nakwav. Salutations to all the elect that are diligently putting out this truth throughout the actual world and the universe. We got all praise to Yahawashi. For that, we're going to give our most honorable and respectful admiration to the apostles that have been diligently bringing this truth out day in, day out, week in, week out, year in and year out, decade in and decade out. Because the apostles of GMS, Great Millstone, have been doing that, and we've got to definitely give them commend on that. They stay on the sacred word. They stay on the sacredness of the name of Yahawah, Bahasham Yahawashi. There is no other name that you could possibly even consider in reference to bringing out the truth. So that's of utmost importance. You know, we got to remember to diligently keep that in line and remember that. Glasses on here so we can get straight, because This probably ain't gonna take as long as most of my lessons. Not the Spirit's not telling me that it's gonna take that long, but we're gonna see where it goes. The lesson for today is complete isolation tribulation. Most High is going to be cutting everyone off. The whole system is going to be cut off, and we need to understand what it is that we're going to deal with in terms of when that process happens, and that's something that I can't stress it enough, and the Father wants me to continue to stress it more explicitly, and I believe that that's what I'm doing. Okay. That I am stressing it more explicitly because I have to, and I don't think that we understand the magnitude of what's actually going to go down. I'm going to go into this again. I got precepts to bring out in reference to this. Not a whole lot, but enough to get the point across so that you can clearly understand what it is that we're going to be going through to a degree. Because I think that a lot of what we're dealing with, we don't quite understand exactly all of what we are going to go through. I think that we have some levels of spiritual blockage that are putting us in a position where we're not understanding that when the Father cuts Yahawashi loose and he actually brings the full wrath of the full measure of his wrath down on us. Boy, I'm trying to tell you, I really don't think we understand the level of what we're going to be dealing with. It's, to me, I think that we need. Okay, let's talk about this for a second. All right, this is what I want to express. Now, those of us that are in this truth, we believe that the apostles and those individuals, those saints, those disciples, those of the ministry that walked around with Yahawashi Hamashiach, right? And during the time when they did roll around with him, would you be so kind as to call them, or so intelligent, spiritually intelligent, to call them the elect and the very elect? Okay, they had an opportunity to roll around with Yahawashi during that time, right? And during that time, they were charged with bringing the ministry to the Israelites that were scattered throughout the entire world, pretty much, okay? Would you not agree to that? I think that all of us would pretty much agree with that understanding, that's what actually went down. That Peter, Mark, Luke, John, Barnabas, James. I can go down the list, okay, of all of them that were involved with Yahawashi Hamashiach, were rolling with Yahawashi Hamashiach, were serving the ministry. Would you consider respectfully that all of those individuals were of the very elect for Yahawashi? Okay, would you be inclined to believe that? Okay, if you would be inclined to believe it, let me ask you a question. All right, would you say that them being the very elect, okay, how did they perish from, or let's just say, how did they transition back to the Most High Yahawashi Yahawashi? How did they transition back to him? Okay, to the Father. Did they all transition back to the Father peacefully? Would you say? Or would you say that they went back to the Most High Yahawashi Yahawashi in a peaceful fashion or a peaceful manner, or did they die pretty horrible, tragic deaths in order to go back to the Most High? Would you be fair and respectful and intelligent, spiritually intelligent enough to believe and say that Peter, John, Mark, Luke, Paul, you can go down the list, not to mention, I would say, a multitude of other um, I would say, men who served in the ministry that may not be named, because I know there was probably 25, 30 of them that were following Yahawashi Hamashiach, right? Now, in saying this, I guess my question is still the same. They were considered to be the elect and the very elect, and I wouldn't doubt that they are part of the 144,000 that will participate and come back, Shilaki, with Michael, and then Yahawashi, of course, with Yahawashi in general. They will be coming back once everything has been taken care of here, as far as the prophecies that have to be fulfilled when we get towards the time of Jacob's trouble that we'll be in. You know, I was listening to Elder Manak Zakba when he was talking about the fact that people get the timelines a lot confused in reference to what happens. And, you know, Jacob's trouble, when we're in it, of course, that'll be during the time and then up to the point when the nuclear holocaust comes to pass on all of the world systems that are in the world. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen to the entire planet, but anywhere and everywhere there's wickedness and Edomites, the nuclear holocaust will reach that. No bunker is going to keep you safe or nothing of that nature. And there's no safe position except to be in Yahawashi Bahasham Yahawashi. When you're in Yahawashi Bahasham Yahawashi, that's the safest position and the only safe position that you really, literally can be in is in Yahawashi Bahasham Yahawashi. No, you can't hide, you can't run, you can't find a safe place, you can't go up in space, you can't go anywhere and think that you're going to be in a safe position to, you know, to be able to deal with the nuclear holocaust that's coming. And it's coming relatively fast. I was listening to Elder Malcolm today. He did a very good lesson on that in terms of what we're up against, in terms of what's coming during this this new presidential selection that's already being put in place. But the reason why I'm stressing this, and I want to get into this, because I think that we're not seeing the darkness that's coming completely, and that's why the lesson is as such. You know, it's talking about the fact that, you know, we're going to have complete isolation, tribulation. I don't think people really understand what that's supposed to mean, because they feel as though because they're living in Esau's world that he's been given some similitude of control, but he's not in control of actually any of it. He is actually puppetized to control it to a certain degree. This is what Esau's been doing. He is puppetized, as is everything that we're dealing with to a degree, if you really look at it in perspective. We have all been predetermined on what we're going to be doing. No one can resist the Father's will, and his will has already been predetermined in terms of who's going to take the MOTB, who's going to take the new jump shots, who's going to go into concentration camps, who's going to go into whatever, into whatever capacity of Jacob's trouble and the level of it is. We've all been determined by the Father, Yahawashi Bahasham Yahawashi, on everyone who's already pre-selected to be in that. Just like the very elect and the elect and the 2/3, and everyone's already been predetermined and pre-selected. If you don't believe, or you don't have the understanding, if you don't have the understanding that Yahweh is, the Father is in control of absolutely everything that he has invented and brought forth in creation, and set Yahawashi and the angels to task to make sure that it all exists and maintain, and is maintained through the power that rests within the infinitive anchor that the Father is. If you don't believe he's in total control of everything, you need to question what level of truth you really are in, because you may be spiritually blocked to a degree where what you are understanding is that you say you're in the truth, you say you know the truth, but at the same time, you have some reservations about how the power is being distributed and who's using it, wielding it, and then managing it. Yahawashi is managing the Father's power given to Yahawashi by the Most High Yahweh. And when he makes a decree, the Father makes a decree that he predestined already in motion. Yahawashi and the angels are going to take it into task, and they're going to do it. It's not going to be taken into consideration. It's going to be done, because the Father's will not be refused from anyone. It doesn't matter. So in saying that, we have a lot of what I call, you know, I was talking with an attorney, and he mentioned a word called conscionable and unconscionable. I don't have to look up words and and pull them up on the screen and show them to you. I can explain what it is. Now, most people know what conscious is. In other words, are you conscious? If someone knocks you out, you're unconscious. If you are walking around conscious, that means you're in a similitude of your mind that's operating and functioning as normal as possible, or as normal as you have been stated and slated to be normal. Now, we can't always say that that's the case with some people, because there's a lot of people who are very abnormal based on the fact that there's certain levels of common sense. In reality, they're blocked from it. They're spiritually blocked. I don't have a belief in mental illness from a secular perspective or world perspective, because I know my heavenly Father Yahawashi controls all His creation. So if someone's not right in their head, it's because that's the Father's position that He's put them in for whatever reason. Just like when Yahawashi and when the Sadducees or the Pharisees were talking to Yahawashi about the blind man, and then why is or even when the disciples were talking about why is this man who was blind from birth, now he can see, and then why did the Father do it? The Father doesn't have to give you an explanation for why He did it, but Yahawashi expressed it explicitly in the way He did. Paraphrasing, He told them, He said, when they asked, who sinned in this man's family? Was it his family? Was it him? Was it his mother, father, whatever? They were spiritually blocked from the regenerative process that our spirits are brought back to this system of existence for periods of time that we cannot count and we don't know of. So because we understand that that is the case, now we're in a position where we say, all right, why? Why am I selected to do what I'm doing? The Most High could have predetermined and made a selection and put you in as an Edomite. Could have made you a wasted away individual, or put you in you made your spirit to be part of the wasted away people. But clearly, if He didn't do that, you are blessed. Even if you are a 2/3, you still get to come back, but you're going to have to go deal with the situation on the side. And this kind of brings me into what I'm talking about. We don't understand the level of what the Father's getting ready to do when He cuts everything off. Because once He cuts everything off, it's going to stay off. It's not coming back on. Esau's not going to have the power to bring it back on. There's not going to be no partial cutoff when He really does the complete isolation, tribulation cutoff. Okay? Right fast, I want to just hit you with Zechariah 13, verse 8, which is one that we always bring out. The brothers bring this out because it hits home, because judgment starts in the house of Israel first. So because it starts there first, I want to start here first before I bring in the rest of the scriptures. So pull up Zechariah, pull up Zechariah chapter 13, and we're gonna go to 8. And most of you already know this. You probably know it already. And I'm gonna read 9 too, but you know what? Spirit told me to tell me just go ahead and start at 7. So start at 7. We're gonna read 7, 8, and 9. Zechariah chapter 13, starting at 7, 8, and 9. And it reads, awake, O sword. Whose sword is awakened? It's the Most High Yahweh's sword that's awakened. Okay? He says, awake, O sword, against my shepherd. Now, why is the Father saying awake against His shepherd? Because what I'm trying to tell you is, we're going to get complete isolation, tribulation within our own ranks. Let me see if I can break it down to you a little bit closer to home. All right. Let's just say that you're with who you're supposed to be with, predestined by Yahawashi, whether you are out on the highways and byways and it's a Saturday and you're collectively camped up and you're bringing out the truths and you're bringing out the precepts and the scriptures, right? and you're breaking it down and you're doing an excellent job. But that's not going to still stop the Father if that's the time when he cuts everything off to bring this part of Jacob's trouble to fruition. And then, of course, everything else that coincides with the prophecies being established. Once he cuts everything off, whether you are together with all of the brethren, or whether you are by yourself, or whether you are somewhere you should or should not be, that at that point in time, remember, there's going to be no communication. There's going to be no process of evaluating your position from anything that's tangible other than your complete faith and utter trust in the Most High through Yahawashi and the angels. That's it. Now, some of us have the understanding and the belief that we'll be just fine when that happens, and we're not going to waver, we're not going to be shaken, and we're not going to be stirred up. We're going to stand and we're going to function. Now, I say, okay, I'll give it 5 hours. You're where you are with who you're with, camped up, not camped up, whatever. Whoever, whatever position you're in, flying, driving, boating, wherever, you're camped up. 5 hours. Everything goes dark. Like, remember the movie with Keanu Reeves in The Day the Earth Stood Still? Everywhere on the entire earth, everything stopped moving, stopped working. No clocks, no lights, no power, no nothing. Now, this is what Yahweh is going to do when complete isolation, tribulation is kicked into gear, cutting everything off. I said everything. And it's not going to come back on. Now, when I say come back on, do I mean that the military won't be able to function and fight against Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the level of first penetration by the Father when he cuts off the power for the time that he does for his prophecies to be fulfilled. Now, is he going to allow Esau to fight at some point? We already know prophecy says he will. So I'm not contradicting myself by saying when he cuts everything off, I mean, he's going to cut it off. But will Esau be down in the bunkers and have the ability to do stuff? I don't know that. I can't give you that answer. He may or he may not. I don't have that answer for you. Do I have an answer for you how the Most High is going to still fight Esau? Because, like, I'm looking at it this way. First of all, when Michael shows up in Daniel 12 to protect us, we're going to be in deep shit as far as Jacob's trouble goes. Once Michael has to show up, we have got to be at a level where shit is just going way off the chart. And so when Michael shows up, he's going to enact a certain level of power and whatever measure he's going to bring that the Father's charged him with. And Yahawashi is on the heels of that right away. So, and then you talk about the fact that in between this process, at some point, the Father is going to bring to fruition the ability for 144,000 individuals that will be armed with an ability and a power that, remember what Elder Malcolm was talking about earlier when I was listening to him, that can't be refuted. There's no way possible you're going to be able to defend yourself against that. But there's going to be a level of isolation that comes when the Father shuts off the ability for Esau to do certain things that he's got him puppetized to do. And that's the cutoff period I'm talking about, where for about a certain amount of hours, you're not going to be able to communicate with anybody about anything. You won't be able to do anything. You're going to be in dark, and chaos is going to ensue, where people are going to, your bodies will be probably moving around. People will move around to the ability that they've been given by the Most High. But as far as being able to establish a strong position, I don't see how that's going to be possible if no one has the ability to communicate and there's no power. So you're going to think about, okay, what's going on now? All right, what is going on? How do I reach and communicate with individuals that I left behind or whatever that I had to? Now, Scripture tells you don't worry about it. Don't go back down into the house and try to collect anything because at that point in time, is no use anyway. Okay, so these timelines that we see, they're going to kind of flow together as the cup of wrath is poured out. So once the seal is broken, and then of course the vial that has the wrath in it that's going to be poured out is starting to be poured out or poured out all the way. These different levels of what I call the cutoff everything period is set in motion, where we won't be able to function the way we are doing now. Chances are we're not going to be doing any of this on the social media platforms or anything of that nature. Nothing's going to be working. You know, people will be taking their phones and they'll be doing all this stuff, trying to, get a signal. No, that ain't going to work. You ain't getting no damn signal. It's all cut off. You are where you are and you're going to be cut off, all right? And so once the Father does that, at what stage does Zechariah 13:8 come into play? Along with the rest of the precepts I'm bringing in that the Father gave me to do through Yahawashi Shai. Because I'm going to bring up Zechariah 9:6, I'm going, as well as 13:8. I could have brought that first, but because the ambassadors that dwell in Ashdod are going to be dealing with this as well. Everyone's going to deal with this. But let me finish reading this here. All right. He says, awake, O sword, against my shepherd, and against the man that is my fellow, saith Yahawah of hosts. Smite the shepherd, okay, and the sheep shall be scattered, and I will turn mine hand upon the little ones. We're the little ones. The Israelites are the little ones, right? It shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahawah, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and I will try them as gold is tried, and they shall call on my name. So you got to know his name, the sacred name, and I will hear them. So he's hearing it, and I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Yahawah is my power. Okay? Now, even in that, he didn't say any was being taken care of except for the 1/3. The 2/3 are not. They're going to die on this side. Now, the timeline that associates with that, falling in the other precepts that I've been bringing out, is very important. Because Israel's going to be dealing with this kind of stuff. Israel, that's right, Israel's going to be dealing with this, us in general. I'm going to go to, I know I have to do this. I don't need to do it. I love to do it, but I'm just going to do it. All right, I'm going to go in here. I'm in my Apocrypha. I meant to tell y'all to bring that out. Okay, so in my Apocrypha, I want 2nd Esdras. All right. And I think I'm going to 16, right? 16. All right. 2nd Esdras in your Apocrypha, 16. And let's see. Yeah, make sure I know I wrote my 16. Yeah, and I want I had 17 through 24. Right. So let me go to 17. I got something to show you. All right. Second Esdras, chapter 16, starting at verse 17. And it reads, woe is me! Exclamation point. Who will deliver me in those days? Well, it has to be Bahasham to deliver you in these days, okay? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, and the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. Okay? The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Now that's verse 18 of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16. This, I'm trying to give you an indication that once the Father cuts everything off, all of these factors are going to be in your mind and in your space and in your face that you got to deal with. The beginnings of sorrows and great mournings, the beginnings of famine, great death, the beginnings of wars, which all of this we see right now happening, okay? And the powers that stand shall stand in fear. So all powers other than who's distributing this righteous spiritual ass whooping will be in fear. The ones bringing it won't be. Yahawashi is not in fear, and he's not concerned about what he has to do. It doesn't bother him. He's going to do it all. So stand in fear. And the beginnings of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? In other words, what's your preparation period? What have you decided in terms of your clue making and your clue solving process that you figured out that Yahawashi has put in your spirit? Because if you know his sacred name and you know that his prophecies are alive and living and transpiring now, what have you devised, or what have you surmised, or what have you been able to uncover about the clues to be prepared for the process? Because supposing you live through this and you don't get the guillotine, or you don't get deleted, okay, or unalived. So so you're around. What directives do you have for complete isolation tribulation when after you've been together for 5 hours, then you finished the beautiful camp and everything stopped, like the day the earth stood still? What do you do now? What do you do? Do you know? Do you have a contingency, a spiritually righteous contingency plan that falls in line with what the scriptures tell you exactly what to do? Joseph had a contingency plan given to him by the Lord. Noah had a contingency plan given to him by the Lord. Yahawah, Bahasham. Everyone that went under the wrath period, a period that the Father presented and poured out his wrath, he always gave them a way to have a contingency plan, even if your contingency plan is you're going to lose your life. The deal is you have been given a contingency plan. What is it? Do you know what it is? Are you sharing it? Or are you instructed to say, well, we ain't giving it out. We ain't telling nobody. We're going to keep it to ourselves. And then when this happens, surprise, everybody else gets the boot and we got our contingency plan and we're good. Now, does that include the process of you assisting in your predestination job of bringing this truth out so the elect can hear it? Because the Father going to let those hear it that have to hear it. So I don't have a problem if you say, hey, if they don't hear it, they don't hear it. They got to take it. But what about, as it says in here, in the beginning sorrows and great mournings, in the beginning of famine and great death. And now when we talked about this in when I was back in Zechariah, it talked about the two parts, all right, that are therein, right? And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahweh, two parts therein shall be cut off and die, right? But the third shall be left therein, Yahweh says, right? I will cut him off from, you see, so if this is what's going to happen, and the cutoff period happens, what is your responsibility to those that you believe you have to still minister to? What's your responsibility level? Tell me that. Show me in scripture the responsibility level when complete isolation tribulation happens. I'm not talking about getting up to a point and going up to a point, because we're talking about that here. It says beginning of sorrows and great mournings, beginning of famines and great death, beginning of wars, right? The power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. Now, beginning means that you're kind of ramping up to the finale, the great finale of the situation, okay? But don't you have to have directives in the process of ramping up to it? Don't you have to have a spiritually strategic plan that goes up towards that? And don't tell me you don't, because the scriptures say that you do, because Joseph did it. Joseph was given the knowledge that didn't even come directly to him. It went through Pharaoh and then came to him. And so once it got to him, then he spoke, and he got the message from the YAHAWAH that says, I got 7 and 7 coming. 7 years of famine for 7 years of harvest. 7 years of harvest, then 7 years of famine. So he had to get the directives on what to do to fill up those cities in Egypt with food, when everybody else in the entire world that had to come there and get food was telling them that he's freaking crazy. You know, or even the spiritual people, so to speak, were saying, well, Joseph, why would God do that? Or why would, whatever they're calling the Father, because they don't know him really, other nations, why would the Creator do that? Why would he cut us off for 7 years with nothing? Remember, he cut them off with nothing. So you can't tell me he doesn't do a cutoff, because he does. Now, when it happens, what did you glean or get from what he told you and how to prepare for complete isolation tribulation? Because you're going to go through isolation tribulation in your mind too. Think about it. Personally, you'll be there. This thing right here, this phone, this ain't going to be working. So you won't be holding this in your hand trying to figure out who you can or cannot communicate or reach. That shit ain't happening. You ain't calling nobody and nobody's calling you. So whatever you thought your plans would be after you finish your work for Yahawashi in the ministry in the flesh, what the hell are you gonna, what's your move? What's the move? What, are you gonna bust a move? What freaking bust a move you gonna make? What move you gonna make then? Once isolation tribulation cuts off, what's the next step you gonna take? All right, camp's over, lights out, everything goes dark, even in the daytime, nothing's working. Your freaking car ain't running. No trains, no planes, nothing is working for we don't know how long. What is your freaking move? What are you gonna do? What you gonna do? What are you telling anyone to do? What are you showing anyone to do? In fact, who you're with, you gonna spend 5, maybe 8 hours, maybe the whole night. But then at some point, you're gonna be thinking about other stuff that you have out there for whoever, whatever, family members, someone who's ill, whatever. Okay, so now the Father has put you in a position that you have to completely and utterly, beyond a shadow of a doubt, trust in him for every single thing that has to happen from that stage on, which really you should be doing it now, right now. You should be doing it now, okay? You should be saying, he's in total control of absolutely everything, and I am going to just follow his directives right now. How are you doing it? Where's your directives? What's your plan? Quiz. The first part of the quiz is this. All right. Number 1. As soon as everything shuts off, right? What do? Right at that moment, when you know you're bringing up a scripture on your phone or whatever you're doing, but everything goes dark, no signal, I mean, you don't even get no sign that says no signal. I mean, it's just freaking dark. What is your move? That's first quiz. What's your first move? What do? Tell me. All right, you already praying, you're already doing the work, but now you have zero communication. What's your move? All right, second quiz question, right? Are you are you in the truth enough to say I'm going to do what now? Praise, worship, and prayer. Do you believe that praise, worship, and prayer at that time is not the second thing that you should be doing as far as this part of the quiz that I'm saying? What is that the answer? I'm kind of asking you the question, but still kind of giving you the answer. It's kind of like an open book test, like what the Bible is. Okay. Third question: where in Scripture are you going to go to during that window of time, if you can even see? Because you may be, if you're at night in the dark, will you be able to see, or will you be able to go to the Scripture in your mind and then determine and give that as support and comfort? And who would you give it to at that time? Because you're isolated, you can't speak and talk to nobody except for whoever you're with. Fourth part of the quiz: what if you're somewhere where you're not supposed to be, and with someone you're not supposed to be? How do you answer that quiz? Okay. Now, 5. Is your faith shaken at this point? A lot of people who claim to be spiritually in the truth and strong, spiritually and psychologically, they're gonna bet the Most High gonna bug them out. He gonna bug them out. Yep, that's what he gonna do. Think about it. During the time when Paul was going to be executed, do you have you praise, worship, and pray for the strength to say, I'm gonna go out like a lion when it's time for me to be executed, because it's my predestination to do that? Do we have the fortitude? Do you got the balls? Do you have the cojones, the spiritual cojones to do that? That's part of that's the fifth stage of the quiz. That's the grace part I'm talking about. Number 5. Do you have the cojones to deal with the fact that you will sit and stand and be able to, intelligently, psychologically, and spiritually look at your transition back to the Most High Yahawashi at that point in time? Because if you're that far into complete isolation, tribulation, and the cutoff is there, and anything that's still moving is going to be evil on this particular system, because he's cutting loose creation against creation. I did the lesson on it. You see he's cutting creation against creation. All of the storms, all of the things that are happening to the world and the people, and how he's wiping out. It was just an earthquake over in 3.9 over in I think it was Indonesia, 3.9 earthquake that happened the other day. Killed a bunch of people, 150 people or more. These things are going to be happening in your front door, right at your doorstep. All of this stuff. Do you have the cojones to know what to do and how to answer that portion of the quiz? What are you going to do? All right? Preparation comes from right here. I'll show it to you. You got one, don't you? If you don't, and you don't know what it's going to do and how to do it, you got problems. And you got problems in your own truth that you claim to be in. This is where your preparation is, but how do you decipher it in order to use it? How do you decipher it in order to use it, like Joseph did? How many Josephs do we have that are really in the truth right now? How many? Let me finish reading. 19, 2nd Ezra chapter 16. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, and they that shall think themselves to be in good case, and even them, even them, then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. This is what you're going to be dealing with when the clues, the five quiz clues that you have to solve. How you gonna solve them if you don't believe that you should be prepared in a multitude of ways spiritually through this word, through this truth? And it's got to be the truth. It's got to be the unadulterated truth. You cannot come with no fudging, phony shit. It's got to be the complete truth, totally accurate. Because if it's not, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and of other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. You hear that? Even if you escape the famine, the sword's coming for you. Tell me that Paul, James, Peter, John, Mark, Luke, all of them, don't you believe they had the Thawah? The mark of exemption? You tell me you don't think they had the mark of exemption while they were walking around in all of the countryside of all these nations, either in twos or by himself. You don't believe they had the mark of exemption? But okay, they did. They were the elect. They were elected by Yahawashi, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Right? So, but what happened to them? This should scare the shit out of you, because it scares me about the fact that, listen, am I really doing what Yahawashi, Bahasham, Yahawashi told me to do? To truly follow his directives. That's why I bring this out, and he has me bring this out. Because you don't understand the level of isolation, tribulation that's coming upon us. This cutoff thing is not going to be something where you think you're going to slide on the side and still have a little juice to do shit. You won't. You're going to be powerless. We're powerless now. And even if you get power from the Most High, it will be under his control. You ain't going to just be able to do whatever you want with it. That is so fucking spiritually delusional. You're not going to be able to just do whatever you want with the power Yahawashi, Bahasham, Yahawashi gives to his 144,000, whoever they are. We don't know. You don't know if you're one. We praise, worship, and pray we are, but we don't know that. And even if you do get it, you would have to be someone that's predetermined with such humility in you and no freaking arrogancy to be able to wield the spiritual power that's still under his control. Okay, angels have a form of spiritual power because they're made that way, all right? And so does Yahawashi and everyone else. But they are operating decently and in order. They're not doing whatever the fuck they want to do. They're under orders. And they follow orders. Do the angels go and not follow orders? No, they're in perfect order. And you think if you get spiritual power, if you're granted it, because if you ain't humble already predestined from the beginning, you may not get it. He's not giving spiritual power to individuals who are arrogant, not humble, and not operating decently and in order. You're not getting any spiritual power if you're not like that. You gotta be humble, and you're going to operate in order. But even though the apostles back when Yahawashi was walking around, who had the Thawah, because they were protected to a degree, they got to travel around and spread the ministry in other lands. But at the end of the day, they still had died in horrible ways. Nobody's skating or getting out of this without being touched by the isolation, tribulation, and the cutoff period that's coming completely. You're not going do it, because the scriptures don't say that you can. They don't say that you're going to get away completely unscathed. Completely unscathed. And Yahawashi had to pay, but you get away completely unscathed. Really? Okay. Yeah, right. Because it says in 22, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine. You dwelling upon the earth, you still in the flesh, ain't you? You still moving around here, aren't you? So how you gonna get away? Okay? Shall perish of the famine. And other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. 23. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be waste. It's what we see now happening in front of your face. And the cities shall be cast down. 24. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. Take your asses, our asses down. Okay? This is what I'm trying to say, man. This isolation tribulation is going to hit us worse than a ton of bricks, man. I mean, worse than a ton of bricks. And this is what I'm trying to express. But, people think that, oh, we're going to be all right because, we pray all the time, so we're going to be good. Yeah, okay. You pray without ceasing is mandatory. But if you don't offer the praise and the worship, just like David did, okay? And David still, he had to die. He may not have died a horrible death, but he still had to check out. That's all part of the process. All right, I'm going to hit 9, Zechariah 9, because I told you I was going to get that before I left, after I left 13. And I'm going to Zechariah 9 and 6, right? Of course, Malcolm, my brother Malcolm, Elder Malcolm brings this out all the time. He always talks about what's happening over in Northwest Asia, in our land, where prophetically the devil's got to be there to finish prophecy. But hey, let's read it. Let's just read it. I'm gonna start at 5, because I'm gonna give 5 and 6. But you know what I'm saying. All right, Zechariah 9, starting at 5. Ashkelon shall see it. All right, Ashkelon shall see it, and fear Gaza also shall see it, and be very sorrowful, and Elkron for her expectation shall be ashamed, and the king shall perish from Gaza, and Ashkelon shall not be inhabited. And a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, and I will cut off the pride of the Philistines. See, 7, I'll hit 7. I'll go ahead. And I will take away his blood out of his mouth and his abominations from between his teeth. But he that remaineth, even he shall be for our power, and he shall be as a governor in Judah, and Elkron as a Jebusite. So we see that it's going to turn back where we have the power again by Bahasham Yahawashi. But what's unfolding now is the bastard is in Ashdod now. That's where that bastard is. And he's sitting in there with the rest of his demons, and they know they got to go. And the Most High is showing you how he's clearing them out. And that is the process that we're looking for. From here, I'm going to start at, I'm going to go back to Leviticus, so go with me. All right, Leviticus, and I'm going to read 17. So go to Leviticus chapter 17, and I'm going to read 10. All right, Leviticus 17:10, and it reads, and whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul, and that eateth blood, and I will cut him off from among his people. Now, the reason why he gave me this, because I said, why did you give me this particular precept? Because is interesting. And I said, okay, and whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel or of the strangers that sojourn among you. Now, the strangers that sojourn among us, we're talking about the Hebrew Israelites that are scattered, that don't know who they are. So they're strangers to those who have been in the truth and operating in the truth. And just like right now, we have individuals that claim to be in the truth, but they're strangers because of their practices and heathenistic ways that they've adopted and stayed with. You know, they've been beat up and locked in so long with being Hellenized and Judaized and Christianized and all this other stuff and religiosity that at this point they're strangers. Okay, so being the strangers that they are, and it says, strangers that sojourn among you, which they will be among you, and eateth any manner of blood. Now, what do? They eat just like the wasted away individuals, like Esau eating, like Esau. Malcolm, brother Elder Malcolm was talking about when he's talking about the rabbis that turn on their own Edomite people who are over here. Esau eating the blood of anything or any food, and like when things get also horribly feminized in this world and in this system, it talks about the cannibalism coming back. So remember back in the day when you used to see, I remember back in Philly, they used to see a guy, a dude you know, and they'd go like, "What's up, blood?" You know, like, "Hey, blood, what's up?" You know, they used to say that in reference to saying, "This is someone who is akin to me, a friend to me, or an individual who is, you know, close to me, associate that's very close to me." And those of you who are old enough probably heard that slang term before. You know, they say, "What's up, blood?" Now, so if you're going to be in a position where, you know, now you're eateth any manner of blood, that means you about to what? Go and get your Burger King, get your Burger People, a Burger King people burger, because you know they're doing this stuff through all these fast food places. So you already eating your blood, okay? If you really think about it, or somebody's blood, and that's horrible. Okay, breaking down and continuing. So I said, eateth any manner of blood. I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood. So when you go ahead and you at that stage of getting ready to be cut off, and you say, "Because I will cut him off from among his people." You can see the stages of how the Most High is breaking this down right now. He is cutting us off and cutting off blood brothers and everyone from the people who are the righteous, and he is doing it now. He's doing that separation. There's no universalism in this truth. It's separation that's coming. He never had universalism to begin with to offer you. So we see this coming, and this is part of the cutoff that we're going to see happen. And people will devour unalived individuals because the scriptures say it's going to happen. It happened in 70 AD, and the Father, he repeats a lot of things that we're going through because he don't change in that way. So that's we're going to be dealing with that possibility as well, right? And, you know, and it says here 11, right? "And for the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls, for it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul." And reading that, finishing that part of the precept, this earth is a altar. It's going to be a sacrificial altar, and the Father shows you that through Zechariah 13:8, where he talks about, you know, 1/3, 2/3, and the rest of the sons of man are going to be put to death, and that means their blood will be shed, and that's going to be a sacrifice, and that's why this earth is an altar in that manner, because of that situation. Now I'm going to go from Leviticus 17 to 20, and I'm gonna read 2 and 3. So be with me, because like I said, judgment always starts in the house of Israel first. Leviticus chapter 20, and this is the time Moses, Yahawashi was speaking to Moses, and on verse 2, it says, again, thou shalt say to the children of Israel, whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth any of his seed unto Molech, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. Now, this is a very blasphemous, detrimental situation that we have been involved in from not picking up the clues of why we're not supposed to be aborting our children, or if the father puts it in a position where abortions become a reality, he has his reasoning for it. I don't have an answer for you why he would allow you to do that. I don't have an answer for you to allow that process to be so prevalent in Israel amongst our own people, because we have been put in a position where we probably, I would feel safe in saying we probably are performing more of those types of atrocities to the Most High than any other nation that I know of, which is which is something that's been put as a stigmatism on us, even all the way back to the time when we were in captivity and coming out of 70 AD, that we were stigmatized with being very subjective when it comes to our offspring and our children, and not taking care of them in the way we should. And the Father in return showed us that if this is the way you wish to operate, I'm going to escalate it and bring it even deeper into what you're doing with. And we are doing this to our own children. Now, every soul that the Father has passed through here, he set it here for a reason. Now, if it comes in and then it goes back to him, whether it is through a natural occurrence in terms of what happens with the womb and the body of the woman who is carrying the child, and whatever the purpose is, he already predetermined that. Now, we get all bent out of shape and get all stressed up inside ourselves about losing a child. Now, I can't speak for that in terms of saying if someone's never had a child and they lost a child, or if it's something went wrong that they see as going wrong. But see, the Father don't make no mistakes. And I had talked to a young lady one time. I was at a cricket store and cell phone store, and she had just lost a child, and she had other children. So, but I had said to her, I said, sometimes what we don't understand as being sorrowful is really a measure of grace that you don't understand, because that child had got a chance to come here and become flesh to a degree, because if the child made it 9 months in your womb and then another, I don't know, couple months or so outside the womb and passed away, or so to speak, it went back to the Father. He gave the spirit and soul of that child. It's in good standing. It's in helpful. And I told her, I said, are you having, what kind of time are you having with the children you have now? And she said she's having a very hard time taking care of, the children she has. And of course, I didn't get into her personal life about whether her husband was involved or whether she was married. I didn't go into that. That wasn't my purpose. I was just trying to console her about the child that transitioned back home to Yahawashi. And she finally understood that child would have had a very hard time, presumably. We don't know for sure, because it's always the Most High's determination on what your lifestyle will turn out to be. He has preordained that. But if he saw fit is to bless and grace that child with coming here and fulfilling the flesh, because the child fulfilled the flesh. It was born through the spirit, in the soul here, and fulfilled the flesh, and then went back to the Father. That child's at rest. That child's in good standing. That child's not hurting or in a problem. We hurt, or the individual's hurt, about the selfishness of not understanding the transitional period that the Father operates under when he brings someone back to the spirit world. And we don't know how many lives that child that came through lived before, or whatever the purpose may be for that child to go back. And I kind of explained it in a way that was sympathetic to her, and she got it and she understood it, and then in turn she was crying about it, but then she came around and she understood that it would have been very difficult for her to take care of that newborn as well as the other two that she was having a very hard time with. And of course, I tried to give her information, of course, in reference to what level of truth she could go to receive from the Bible and the sacred name of the Most High as being a platform to start with, get the name down first, and then praise, worship, and pray for understanding in order to be able to receive and understand the word through your husband or someone who could teach you. So again, we got to understand, just because the seed is set forth in a womb, and that seed is transitioned back to Yahawashi, and you may not be in favor of or love or like the way that it was transpired or transacted, you can't say that the Father did something wrong to you, because look at the world. Look how fragmented it is. Look how crazy and what a fallen state this world is in. People who don't have children have a blessing on them also that they don't have to have as a potential burden on their mind on what will happen to these children in this fallen state, wicked system that's being operated and orchestrated here. I've got several children, males and females, okay? And don't think for one moment I don't think about the fact that they've gotten as far as they have because of the grace and mercy of Yahawashi, and whatever part I play in it, I'm very humbled in terms of understanding that they're in whatever standing they're in because of that. And but I would be, of course, it would hit me hard if something happened to any of them, because they're my children. They came through my seed. But just because they come through your seed does not mean they're going to be in your lot as far as eternity is concerned in the new covenant, new kingdom. Elder Malcolm always says, all skin folk ain't your kinfolk. He's always cracking me up when he says that. But I don't want to digress. Let me go ahead and get forward. Evildoers are not going to prosper in this process as the Most High starts to take down this system, and he's it's circling the drain, and it's about to be flushed. And the point is, what part of the flushing do you want to be on? Because it's going to be some flushing, and a lot of folk going to get flushed that don't think they are going to get flushed. I don't care how much you think you're in the truth. If the Most High's got you predetermined to be flushed, you will. Psalms chapter 37. Go with me. Psalms 37. Okay, if you can get there. All right, we're gonna hit just a few precepts here. All right. So start at the top. All right, Psalms chapter 37, and this is a Psalm of David. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. And we have a tendency of being envious about people who have a position that looks like they are being blessed by the Most High in a fallen state that we see here in this world, whether they have a large monetary platform or where they have a following of prestige in terms of how they operate with the people of this world. We see that all of those that glitter, their gold is turning up tarnished, and it's also turning up fool's gold. So if you did it, and you diddied it, and you did it, and you did it, and you diddied it, and if you operate in a format where you think that you're Genesis, you're gonna end up being terminated because you think that you're doing something that you're not right. Not to digress. Okay, forgive me. 2, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. 3, trust in Yahweh and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. That means following the precepts in terms of the directives on how to operate. Delight thyself also in Yahweh, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. See, delighting thyself has a lot to do with being able to pick up the clues in order for you to get closer to your purification process, your cleansing and purification processes, which we want. But you got to go through this part of the fire to get to that point. 5. Commit thy way unto Yahweh, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. See, that means he gonna cover you, and he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. So if he's bringing forth your righteousness as the light, this is answering some of the portions of the clues in the quiz I told you about in terms of the praise, worship, and prayer that will get you towards having some light in the darkness of everything that's cut off. You see what I'm saying? 7, okay, rest in Yahweh and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Now, all of these wicked devices that are being brought to pass by Esau, Edom, they're all puppetized by Yahweh. No one has any power if it isn't given from on high. Yahawashi even said this when he talked to Pilate. Why don't y'all get that point? That means everything's controlled by him, by the Father himself, even through Yahawashi. 8, cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil. 9, for evildoers shall be cut off. Here it is, the cutoff period. But those that wait upon Yahweh, they shall inherit the earth. Now, waiting upon Yahweh does not mean that you sit your ass down and don't do nothing. Like a bunch of wacky-tacky Christians talking about, oh, we're going to get raptured out. Oh, really? Oh, really? You can't just sit back and do religiosity and wicked creation worshiping practices and think that you can just pray and that's all you're going to have to do and then your ass will make it. Well, that's not what the Father's saying. 10, for yet a little while the wicked shall not be. You hear that? Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. Now, when you have to diligently consider something, that means that you have to pick up and understand the clues in reference to how you're supposed to operate and how you're supposed to be moving. If you're not doing that, then you're not operating correctly, okay? Now, because why? It says, but the meek shall inherit the earth and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plotteth against the just and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. Yahweh, the Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. Now, can't we also see that? Can't we see that the day is coming, right? The wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor, needy, and to slay such as be the upright conversation. We know all this is coming. We have no qualms about this at all. This is all part of the process that leads up to what this lesson is talking about, which is everything's going to be cut off from you. Not just in sin, yes, the similitude of things being cut off from you in the dark, but being cut off from you. Right now, we have a lot of things that are cut off from us. And what do I mean by that? Okay. Forms of being cut off from freedom to exist with less stress and less problems. If you have bills you can't pay and you're put in a position where you don't recover from it, your shit get cut off. Whether they take your land, take your house, cut your power, take your car, take your man. Esau will take your offspring. When they always say, man, I had to give up an arm and a leg. Esau will literally take the whole damn body. Okay? Believe it. So you got to understand, this is the type of cutoff that happens that Yahweh orchestrates on Israel, because he's been doing it. We've been getting our asses whooped for thousands of years now. So you got to take in consideration. You think he ain't going to continue to cut off? You think the arms of the wicked will not be broken, but Yahweh upholdeth the righteous? They will be broken. Right? 18. For Yahweh knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. He knows the days. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. But that's contingent upon you following the clue process that's coming with directives to go through the straight gate and not be weary and go to the right or to the left and get out of line with the way the prophecies are coming down. So you have to be just like Joseph. You've got to follow the directives that's given you. And if you aren't getting any, you need to be praise, worship, and praying. Where are they? Where are your directives in this book? Okay, where are they? You need to be getting them, right? All right, 20. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of Yahweh shall be as the fat of lambs. They shall consume into smoke, shall they consume away. 21. The wicked borroweth and payeth not again, but the righteous showeth mercy and giveth. For such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. There's the cut off again. 22 again. For such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. 23. The steps of a good man are ordered by Yahweh, and he delighteth in his way. That leans heavily on directives, being directed. Right? The steps of a good man are ordered by Yahweh, and he delighteth in his way. 24. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down. See, that means you will be touched, even with the thawah. Okay? Be cast down, for Yahweh upholdeth him with his hand. 25. I have been young and now am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken. He never forsakes the righteous. Nor his seed begging bread. He is ever merciful and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. To be ever merciful, right, and lendeth, that means if you have been given directives by Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi to know what to do when the cutoff period happens at various stages, and you don't share that with those that are supposed to receive it, and you can judge, discern through the spirit if they're supposed to receive it, but it doesn't stop you from offering it. You understand? So being in a position, he is ever merciful and lendeth his seed is blessed. That's what you need to understand. Depart from evil and do good and dwell forevermore. 28. For Yahweh loveth judgment and forsaketh not his saints, Israel, not the rest of the nations of the world. They are preserved forever, but the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. There's another cutoff. That's why I keep bringing this up about the cutoff. The Father is going to cut shit off. Y'all got to get this. 29. The righteous shall inherit the land and dwell therein forever. 30. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. 31. The law of Yahweh is in his heart. None of his steps shall slide. The wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him. Right? 33. Yahweh will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on Yahweh and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land when the wicked are cut off. How many times I got to keep saying it? When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. 35. I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree. Yeah, but the Most High has puppetized him, and he's doing that. 36. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but he could not be found. See that? These devils are getting out of here, and they're going to clear them out, but we still have to fulfill our part. 37, mark the perfect man. How do you do that? The man has been marked who's perfect by the Most High Yahawah Shem Yahawashi, already predestined from the foundation of the world. You've already been marked in that way. And behold, the upright, for the end of that man is peace. Okay? 38. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off. I can't stress it enough. You got to understand there's all these limits, all these particular levels of cut off that's coming. Are you prepared to navigate with the precepts if you're in a position where everything is cut off? But the salvation of the righteous, 39, but the salvation of the righteous is of Yahawah. He is their strength in the time of trouble. 40. And Yahawah shall help him and deliver him, and he shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in him. Do you really? Do you really trust in him? Or do you just trust in man and the organization that you're part of? Do you trust in guerrilla time? Do you trust in the ability to have all the money because you got beautiful purple and gold uniforms that let you ride on horses and do stuff that just fascinates the flesh? What do you trust in? You know, do you trust in your lust because you feel as though, oh, my lust is going to survive the new covenant and I'm going to get everything I want. I'm going to have all the money and all the women and I'm going to have all the power, all the power. Yeah. You really think so, huh? Is that what you trust in, or do you trust in Bahasham, Yahawashi? What is it that you really trust in? Right? It says here at 40, and Yahawah shall help him and deliver them, and he shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in him. Do you really trust in him? Because the wicked will be cut off. Right? Proverbs. We're getting ready to wrap it up. Almost done. 2:22. One of my favorites. Proverbs 2:22. But the wicked shall be cut off from the earth, and the transgressors shall be rooted out of it. And of course, stepping up above it in 21. Let's go a little higher up. 19, none that go unto her return again, neither take they hold of the paths of life. 20, that thou mayest walk in the way of good men and keep the paths of the righteous. 21, for the upright shall dwell in the land, and the perfect shall remain in it. But, 22, but the wicked shall be cut off from the earth, and the transgressors shall be rooted out of it. That's Proverbs 2:19 through 22. Now, the Father is going to consume all the elements and the rudiments of evil and wickedness. He's going to get all this out of here, okay? I know people don't understand that, but I'll give you a precept that proves that he is going to do that. I'm going to go to Zephaniah. All right, so go with me to Zephaniah. Zeph. And I'm going to start at 1. All right. Let's talk about Hezekiah. I wanted to go here because an affinity for some things that Hezekiah did and didn't do, did right and did wrong. But, you know, he was an individual that he got a break from the Most High. And that's a very rare process that you get spared by Yahawashi. But let's read Zephaniah and what the Father said he's going to do, right? Because he's coming with it. I'm going to start at number 2. I will utterly consume all things from off the land, saith Yahawah. Okay, this is also similar to Amos 5:18 through 20, and I'll probably pop over there because I mean it comes in my mind, so I mean I'm thinking about it too. Most the spirit just dwells in me and wells up to say, hey, you know, you might want to bring out Amos. But let me read. starting at 2. I will utterly consume all things from off the land, saith Yahweh. I will consume man and beast. I will consume the fowls of the heaven, and the fishes of the sea, and the stumbling blocks with the wicked, and I will cut off man from off the land, saith Yahweh. I can unpack so much from there, but I'm not going to do it because he didn't tell me to go in there, because there might be a part 2 to this. I can't tell you. I already took this from the last one and brought it forward because he gave it to me, but this is true. Are we not experiencing this? He will consume man and beast, and he's doing this. When the Hurricane Helene came, it consumed man and beast, except for those that got away, that went north up western up as far as western North Carolina and got away. But see, once they sensed from Lake Lure, there's a place called Lake Lure. When I worked in that area, it's a beautiful lake. It was like a fabulous lodge, superior type place to go and vacation. Lake Lure was beautiful, man. Water was so clean and pure, man, you could almost virtually drink it. But they had mountain streams that you could drink from. They all got polluted. But in other words, Most High cut off man and beast, where he just flooded that area of mountain. Was almost unprecedented that it could even support a flood at the nature of the magnitude. It shows you the power of Yahawashi. And he did that. He said, I will consume the fowls of heaven and the fishes of the sea. We see this going on right now. Birds and stuff falling out of the sky, dying from the chemtrails and stuff that's being poured out on the land, and they can't breathe. The fish are coming out the water because they can't breathe because of the plastics and the bullshit that's in the water. I mean, you see all this stuff happening. This is the Most High's hand. He's doing this to his planet, his earth, his system, his world. He's doing this. Esau ain't doing this shit by himself. The Most High is doing this through him. Because this is a fallen state world, and he's cleaning and clearing it up. And it's got to go so horribly wrong before it gets so graciously cleaned up. And this is what we got going. The fishes of the sea and the stumbling blocks with the wicked. And then you see Esau stumbling because there's no more wisdom in Timon, no more wisdom with them. So that's why they're stumbling block with the wicked. And I will cut off man from the land, saith Yahweh. Okay, 4, right? And it reads, I will also stretch out my hand upon Judah. See, and you know Judah's catching it. And upon all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, that includes all of Israel. And I will cut off the remnant of Baal from this place, and the name of the Chemerins with the priests. So he's telling you that all of the false processes and all of the things that the Chemerins are doing in terms of how they bring idol worshiping in, and all the falsehoods and everything that's happening with their belief systems, all of this is going to be cut off. He's telling you that from the land, saith Yahweh. Okay, and then 5. And them that worship the host of heaven upon the housetops, and them that worship and that swear by Yahweh, and that swear by Malacham, and them that are turned back from Yahweh, and those that have not sought Yahweh nor inquired for him. Right? I'm not done. Stay with me, because this is Zephaniah. And 7. Hold thy peace that the presence of Yahweh power, for the day of Yahweh is at hand, for Yahweh hath prepared a sacrifice, he hath bid his guest. And it shall come to pass in the day of Yahweh's sacrifice that I will punish the princes and the kings and the children and all such as are clothed with strange apparel. And in the same day also I will punish all those that leap on the threshold, which fill the master's house with violence and deceit. See what I'm saying? The Father is saying no one is going to skate. Everyone is going to drink of the cup of wrath. How much of this cup do you want to drink? How much? Think about it. Do you want to sip? Do you want to gulp? Do you want to drink a whole cup? What's going to be? Because he's predetermined who's going to do it and who's going to have it. He has definitely made the decision already. I can't for the life of me think, he just hasn't given me this part of it yet. And I praise, worship, and pray. I just know that that's got to be close to the key of how to get released from spiritual blockage. That's the only thing I can say, man. Don't you want to be released from spiritual blockage in the fashion that you have ought, or something's unsettled in your spirit about the way that the Father's shutting down everything, and you have a problem with it? Wouldn't it be, I'm just asking, wouldn't it be a relief to praise, worship, and pray, praise, worship, and pray, to be released from the level of spiritual blockage that blinds you from understanding that the Father is doing everything that's going on? Everything that's going on. He's doing it all. He's doing it all. Why not give him the formula he's asking for from the level of love he put your spirit into existence with, and praise, worship, and pray to be released from you not understanding that he's doing it all and bringing it out in that way? Because he's going to cut you off soon, and that's all you will have to give him to be in the light. Because your oil, what if you can't find your oil to burn, to have some light? So then you'll be in the dark, even in the daytime, because you are so proud and not humble enough to praise, worship, and pray all together. And in turn, get released from you having a problem with the way he's taking down his world. Or you're going to sit in the cut off darkness and not know what to do. It's coming fast. And guess what? He's not going to give you a quick, oh, here it is, I'm cutting it off today. No, he's not doing that. Or, well, in a week, I'm going to cut it off. Nope. In a month, nope. In a year, nope. He's just going to do it. And where you are, even in your spiritual mindset, how strong in the truth are you really? Are you really? Yahawashi, for my sins as I cry. Oh Lord, Yahweh, for that time when you supply the cut-off process, will you allow me to survive? Kolo Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi.